Yep. I'll read Bushwhack. Bushwhack, 1 green, sorcery. Choose one, search your library for a basic land. Or target creature you control fights target creature you don't control.
Mm-hmm.
Good enough to be in the vintage cube at one point.
Uh-huh.
So it's got to be. It was in the vintage cube at one point.
But there are a lot of cards that are good in cube to be in the cube, but not good enough to be in a regular draft.
This card was not good enough to be in the cube. It was just in it for no reason.
Okay.
But yeah, this is this card's okay. It's fine. It's not like it's a weird card to evaluate because it's not like a removal spell, but sometimes it is, right? Generally, I hate the fight cards because if you already have the larger creature, you're not usually that worried about the other creature. And that's been that way ever since they took activated abilities off common creatures, really. Where like before a fight effect might have been better because they had like a pinger or Sanctum Custodian, which is like a something that taps to prevent damage. But these days, it's just all about creature size, right? So if you have the larger creature, fighting usually isn't that important. But this does fix too, right? So this is such a flexible card. It's a C for me. You're almost never going to cut them, right? Because they're kind of just lands. It's almost like a spell land.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to take it very aggressively.
Yeah, spell land from your hand, right? It's not from the battlefield. So that's where they get very powerful. But C seems fine. Like, why not? Yeah, if you like splashing, it's nice. If you are kind of... You can switch out some lands for this, so that's really nice.
Yep.
Wasn't this uncommon in some set the last time?
Yeah, it was. It was an uncommon, and I forget the name of the set. I forget which set it was, but yeah.
Oh, nice. So it's going to be very different now. You could play a couple. I can see this being just a C+.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. It's again, it is competing with land slots in your deck, and in modern day Magic, there's a lot more playables. So.
Oh, that's true. But still, in modern day Magic, in Lord of the Rings, there's the 1-mana land cyclers were amazing. So it is kind of similar with that if you have a lot of green. Anyways, this is Giant Growth. For green, you get an instant +3/+3. Solid trick, not bad. I don't know how much green is going to be attacking. Tricks got worse on the defense, but that doesn't really matter too much because you don't want to use them on the defense. But it was always nice, like, to double block and then see what opponent does, and then use the trick. To after if the attack seemed weird, but yeah, we can't do that. Still, it's nice. I don't know how much green cares about tricks. That's why I'm just gonna give Giant Growth D+.
Yeah, D+ is where I was going to land. I think it's noticeably better than other combat tricks in this set, and in general. It's so much more efficient, and it's basically always winning your combats for you. But yeah, just like what you said, combat tricks are kind of combat tricks in that you can't play too many of them. You need to have a good base of creatures before you can start adding combat tricks to your deck. So they kind of are capped on how good they can be, and Giant Growth is as good as it gets for a common, I think, for
a trick,
for combat trick. It is just a common.
But before it becomes premium, like some of them.
Yes. There's like Feat of Resistance and stuff where they were quite good. This is an interesting one. We got Llanowar Elves, another alpha reprint here. 1 green, 1/1, taps for a green mana. I mean, in the formats where you have like a lot of snowbally cards, Llanowar Elves are kind of insane. But generally, they're like the last time we saw this was Dominaria, right? And in Dominaria, it was good, but it wasn't like insane or anything. It was just a solid card. It's a C for me. I don't really know what I'm trying to curve into with this. That's in green. That's going to have that high of an impact. And they're just, I mean, if I'm playing this and they just shock my 3-drop or whatever, I kind of almost feel like I'm, not down a card, but I'm going to end up flooding out in those games sometimes. So it's just I'll give it a C+.
I don't know. What am I ramping into? Exactly that. Mostly, I want this not even in a curve out decks. It's more like a little bit of a grindy decks to get that upper hand. So it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, it's just that tempo boost. There's almost no place it's bad. That's the thing. Like, you're always going to want it if you're a green deck that has enough force to cast it on turn 1. Its floor is pretty high. but I think its ceiling is also kind of high. So
I mean, the floor is
or
like
ceiling is also kind of low. So excuse me, its ceiling is capped, but I think its floor is pretty high.
I think the floor is pretty low for Llanowar Elves, and that might be very controversial opinion, but I really think it is. It's the thing is, the floor for me is you don't get it on turn 1, and then you get it on turn 2, 3, or 4, and then even when you sneak it in, you don't care about it anymore. Maybe I've been spoiled by rampers that can trade. Maybe that's it. But
well, a lot of them cost 2 mana, and I think
a lot of them cost 2 mana, yeah, which is something that I would rather have. 2 mana that can trade, but let's just. I'm actually gonna give it a C minus. And I know I liked the Llanowar Elves before, but I'm not sure that I like them here. I don't know what you're ramping really into with green. There are some cards that are fine. Yeah, I don't know.
I think you're just trying to play a 3-drop on turn 3, a 4-drop on turn 4, and a 5-drop on turn. None of them are particularly good, but
that's the thing.
You're just playing a turn ahead of curve. And...
Yeah, I'm just gonna give it a D. A C minus.
Yep.
Hope it's nice. But yep, a bit too weird when you don't get it on turn 1. Next up, we got Buy Down. Even though everybody, usually everybody loves the Llanowar Elves, but I'm not sure how that is gonna perform well. Buy Down is a 2 mana instant that says target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. That is nice. Nice as an instant. It's what green gets as a removal spell, and usually pretty happy with it. It has that drawback of getting you 2 for 1 when it can kill the creature. That's really bad.
Yeah, it's got a couple of problems for me. Remember, Monstrous Emergence was the best they've ever done with this effect. I think.
Yep.
The fact it's instant is great. I'm kind of curious about how big the creatures are going to be with it. Like we have Llanowar Elves tokens, stuff like that. The other colors don't seem to pair well with it, right? So this is going to need to go nice and with green creatures specifically. I don't know. I don't like this card all that much. I'm gonna play it, but it's probably a C minus for me.
I'm gonna give it a C. I think it's gonna be fine. Instant speed is good. Instant speed is really nice. I think the green creatures are decently sized for it. And there's like a 4 mana. There's like a 4 mana 4/3 with Ward, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but that's always the issue I have with these cards is I need to have a board presence before I can start casting them, and I hate that.
Yeah, same.
I want to be able to curve into it if I need to. I like a big thing for me is if I can't cast a card for its mana cost, like on that turn, and then it just gets downgraded for me.
I remember when I started drafting, I liked them a lot more.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna like them a lot more. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. All right, we're moving on to Dwynen's Elite. Oh, this is a common. Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Realize. Green 1/2/2. When this creature enters, if you control another elf, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. And we have Llanowar Elves. Like, what elves do we have to package with this?
This one?
Especially cheap ones, because you're going to want like Llanowar Elves into this is nice. Obviously, you're not taking advantage for the fact that you have Llanowar Elves.
Yep.
Sorry, my wife.
No problem.
Hey, honey, I got the package.
You got it?
Yes. All right. She's just making sure I got the package to the door. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, it's one of those cards that you're going to usually end up playing later to get any value off of it, and it's just a Grizzly Bear when you don't. So it's not... The one thing about them is they're very good in multiples. If you start curving them into each other and stuff like that, and it being a common, that actually makes it better, right? Because that's going to happen more often.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it it's a 2-drop, so I can't... The floor is pretty high for it anyways. I'll give it a C minus.
I'm actually gonna give it a C plus. I think a 2 mana 2/2 is what you get in this format. Like from what I saw, like most of the 2 drops, like it's just like 2 mana 2/2. That's gonna be normal. And this is I don't think I'm looking for this to be like, oh, I really need this effect to activate. It's more that like I'm getting usually just a 2/2 on turn 2, which is what you get in this format. And then most other times that I play them, they're gonna add an extra 1/1, which 2-drops don't usually do. They just stay 2-drops. But actually, now that I said it, green has 2 more pretty good 2-drops. So
Yeah.
So can you give it a C actually, not a C plus, just a C?
Sure. Yeah.
Because there are good 2-drops, like Gnarled Colony is not bad. It's 1 and a green, a 2/2.
I do like Gnarled Colony.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Gnarled Colony.
What?
Let's move on to the Gnarled Colony.
Yeah, it's 5 mana 4/4. Like it's gonna be 5 mana 4/4, and all creatures that have counters on them have trample. So it's gonna give trample to maybe some other things, to itself, if you paid 5 mana for it. Yeah, that's a really nice way of, maybe there are not many 5-drops in this set. So your 2-drops being able to be kind of bad 5-drops, but still better than 2-drops. 100% better. Probably the 2-drop I'm looking for. So is this just a C plus? Because 2-drops kind of freaking suck in this format.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with C plus. Just a solid card. It's flexible on the curve. I love that. Like, I love when my 2-drops play well in the late game, and that's what this does, right? You play it on turn 2. You're not that happy when you play it on turn 2 because it's a bad 2. It's also a bad 4, but the fact that you can fill your curve in anywhere you need to, very flexible. I like it. C plus for me.
If we put this in Duskmoon, I would not care about it, for example.
Yeah, well, if there's enough competition for cards across the curve, cards like this get worse, right? Because you're not looking for flexibility; you're looking for just sheer power at each spot on the curve. But this is a lower power format, like we said. The 5-drops have all been extremely underwhelming.
Very underwhelming.
So
the one ones that draw card and discard, those are going to be probably the best.
Yep.
I think.
Oh, what did you say for it? Oh, you said C plus. Yeah. That's
C plus.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just got to say one thing. It's when you have 5-drops that are not discard, but 5-drops that are underwhelming, you just don't play them. But when you have 2-drops that are underwhelming, then you got to look at which one is the least underwhelming, and that is actually a really good card for my deck. So it's a little bit weird in that way. High cost creatures and stuff, if it's underwhelming, you don't have to play it at all. Just don't put it in the deck. But the opposite doesn't work.
All right, let's move on to Wary Thespian. Green 1, 3/1. Cat Druid, when it enters or dies, surveil 1. So it's fine. It's going to help you hit your land drop if you need it. It's going to get rid of a land if you're a little bit flooded in your opening hand. Solid, but it has a problem in this set. Pretty big problem. The 1 toughness thing is kind of an issue, given that there's tons of tokens, and there's burglar rats, and there's whatever the I don't remember the name of the white one. The white draw a card one. So this is just going to get bricked off by cards that have already provided value fairly frequently. So I'm not in love with this, but it's a decent 2-drop. So it's kind of I'm gonna give it a C minus only because the 2-drops are bad. Normally I would give it like a D plus. Honestly, I'd probably give it a D in the texture of this format normally, but the cards are all kind of like that, so it's kind of hard to punish it too much. So I'll give it a C minus. Maybe it's just a D plus though.
Yeah, the 1/1s really hurt us. I think the black 1/1 is going to be great that discards. The white 1/1 is going to be great that draws a card. And it fucking hurts it a lot. Other than that, this card is... Love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I really would like it if the format wasn't so punishing for it.
Yes, because surveilling twice on a 3/1, which is very decently statted, is great. It also doesn't work well with counters, so C minus in the context of the format... I think we could be wrong, but I really think we are not wrong. This is how it looks like, and I think this is a good prediction for the 3/1s. That's why I said the 3/1 in white, the 2/2 with no text might be better.
Yeah. Cathar Commando has it's very similar.
Oh.
It's got other upsides, the flash and the other thing. They both have abilities that are.
Oh, this is gonna be irritating, like with the graveyard thing. Why do they hate on graveyard, man? What the fuck? Like, there is nothing great happening in the graveyard. Just chill out with that shit, man.
Maybe they're worried about terror.
Wait,
yeah,
is that
they're pretty hostile to my Tolarian terror deck.
Yeah, to that and to some and to threshold.
I didn't even realize. I didn't even think about it. Yeah.
It's is Tolarian terror decks, are Tolarian terror decks like just gonna be 50-50 if you get fucked, and same for the threshold decks, but you don't really care about threshold. Like flashback cards seem worse.
I don't understand why they do. They make a threshold mechanic, and then put stuff like this in. Like I'd rather they stick to the graveyards to hate it uncommon instead of common. Like a lot of it at common. It's just really
Like if you are. And there is a 4-mana 3/4 that is a flyer decently started that just exiles the whole graveyard.
Yep. The 4. Yep.
That card could actually be just great, and it's so bad. I hate it. I hate that.
Yeah.
You're all of a sudden boom. Your terrors. There is no discount. Your threshold doesn't exist. Your flashback is now. Those are really bad cards. Because you can't play them twice, and then they suck.
I guess that's why they did it. There was flashback, and I don't know. I agree with you. I don't like that design.
It's weird, and also like when it's foundation. Okay, gonna finish. When it's foundations, like don't they want to like introduce players to how it feels like to play with the graveyard?
Yeah.
But then like boom. Ambush Wolf is a 3-mana 4/2 with flash. When it enters, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. That's mostly irritating for those decks. It's not even decently started, I guess, so that's kind of fine. It has 4 power for very.
Yeah, it's got flash. It's got a kind of a lot of stuff to make it just kind of like a decent filler. It triggers the goblin. There's like 1 or 2 other ferocious cards in the set, I believe.
Yeah, like
it's fine. It's just filler. It's like I'm gonna compare this card to the long neck or whatever, right? They're pretty similar in how I would evaluate them. Like it does some stuff, contributes to some synergies. It's okay. I'm not gonna be excited to play it. I'm not gonna take it very high. It's a D for me. But.
Same. Sigi, let me ask you this: what do you think? How many cards with ferocious mechanic in green on common there are?
Green uncommon? I have no idea.
Common.
I only saw it on a few cards. Maybe
commons,
2?
green commons. How many effects with
commons? Maybe 1.
0.
Maybe 1. 0. Okay. Is there uncommons?
I hope. I kind of forgot, but 0. Isn't it 0? There are uncommons. There's like the Garruk's Uprising or something like that that draws you cards and stuff like that. But 0 uncommon? What is happening? Just a D for me for the wolf.
All right. Beastkin Ranger, green 2, 3/3 trample. Whenever another creature you control enters, this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. This is a solid solid 3-drop.
Yeah.
Centaur Courser Plus, if you will. 3-mana 3/3s have kind of always been the standard for a while now in green, and this is a little bit better than that. It's very nice with the elite. You'll get a chunk of damage in the next turn if you're able to do that. I don't know. It's a solid 3-drop. It's probably the best green. It is the best green 3-drop common, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'll give it a C.
I'm okay with a C as well. Solid 3-drop. Can't play too many, but it's very solid. Very solid. Attacks better than basically anything in the set.
Yeah.
Broken Wings for 2 and a green. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. You don't play this in main board, I think. Even with a lot of flyers in the set, not every deck is gonna have them. And enchantments, artifacts are very few and far between. So just an F and X for Cyber. You can play it. Costs too much to be main deckable as well. Like when it's good, it's not that good. You still have to wait.
Exactly. It's one of those cards you're like, oh, I got a target. Thank God.
Yeah, exactly. And quickly use it before it trades or something.
All right, let's go to Grow from Ashes. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Oh yeah.
So Grow from the Ashes, green 2 sorcery. Search your library for a basic land. put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. If it was kicked, you get 2 basic lands and put them on the battlefield instead. It's got kicker 2. So this card was excellent in original Dominaria, because Dominaria was much slower. Dominaria had a lot more kicker support, right? You had other cards you would kicker this into some other big kicker card that had a much bigger effect and stuff like that. This was kind of your fixing. There's a lot of reasons it was better. And this set, it just seems bad. Not like unplayably bad, but you're not trying to do that kind of stuff anymore. The formats, you're playing this, you're getting hit for 5 because you took a turn off, right? Yep. They played a 2-power creature and 3-power creature, and you put a land in play. There's also just not a top end. There's not top end to really.
And the low end is not that bad like in Dominaria.
So you're going to play this sometimes, but in general, I'm going to omit playing this in my green decks. I guess green-blue is supposed to be a landfall deck, and you will get some value out of that. Like, you'll have that random serpent in play that stuns creatures and stuff, and you play this after, so it's not a dead card, but it's still not a good card. I will give Grow from the Ashes a D.
I'm going to give it a D-.
Okay.
In Dominaria, there was also, like, games are super slow, and then big bombs a lot of times won the game, or infinite combos from the graveyard. Super slow and not that strong infinite combos from the graveyard also were winning the games. Here, if you draft with somebody who never takes wizards in Dominaria, you're probably gonna kill the opponent kind of fast. But even that fast is pretty slow for today's standards. Like, you had a 2/2 haste that buffs wizards, but we have Balmor here for 2 mana, not 3, that buffs everything and gives it trample, right?
Yeah.
And the wizards that you were buffing were like 3 mana 2/3s a lot of times. And that was the aggro deck. Next up, Cackling Prowler for 3 and a green, 4/3 Ward 2 Morbid. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. This is something I'm interested in.
Yeah, it's a really weird card. Just everything about it is weird.
Even the art.
It's a hyena rogue, a green card. It's kind of weird. The ward is kind of bizarre to me.
It's not a 3/3? These are always 3/3s and have an award.
Nah, yeah, there's usually something like that, but I would think it would be, if it was a 3/3, it would probably cost 3 mana.
It's still a 4.
I don't know. Like, this is like an okay. I'm not going to say a good 4-drop. It's kind of in between filler and whatever. Like, it's not going to trigger very often, but like, if you do play it as a 5/4, that's nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm going to give it a D+. Maybe it should be a C-. I don't know.
I'm okay with a C-. I'm kind of okay with C-.
You're going to give it a C-? Yeah. I'm going to stick with D+.
I could be too high on it. It's still a 4-drop.
Exactly. That's why I don't want to give it.
Yeah. It's a weird set, man. A lot of cards are kind of just weird.
There's something confused. Like, this is the kind of thing I did when I taught my wife to play Magic before. I just put all kinds of abilities in sets and was like, "Here, learn all of it all at once."
Yeah.
And that's kind of that's what that kind of card looks like. It's like, wait, we got Morbid, Reach, counters. Like, it's a lot of things on one card.
No reach though.
All right, Treetop Snare Spinner, green 3.
I mean, this one.
No reach on that. No.
Yeah.
All right, Treetop Snare Spinner, green 3 for a 1/4 reach with Death Touch. Green 2, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery. I really like this card.
I like it as well.
Yeah, because it's a consistent card. It kind of like it's gonna gum up the board. Like, once this thing hits the battlefield, if it doesn't die, the game goes to a halt, and then it's going to start taking over with its free counters, right? You're going to start mana sinking and stuff like that. It's kind of weird because green doesn't seem like it's trying to do that. I guess in green black maybe.
And Lana or else actually becomes better with this.
What becomes better?
Lana or
the
else
fight spell
becomes a lot better. Lana or else.
The fight spell is nice with this too. Yeah, this is a good card with Llanowar Elf. I think I'm going to give this one a C. I think I'm going to be really happy to put this in my deck.
I'm also gonna be able to see. This is the only reach creature in the set except the next one. I'm kind of
The only one except the other ones. Yeah.
The only one except the next one, but next one is a 5 mana 5/3, so I'm not really counting that as a reach creature.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love this new spinner.
This doesn't mess up. The only reason this is not like a higher grade is because it's a common, and you really don't need the crap ton of them.
Yeah, it's diminishing returns, right? The second one in play is
diminishing
significantly worse than the first one.
And if you're the one who is attacking, it's gonna kind of be like, ah, shit, this is gonna help a lot later. It's
you really want to have a slower game plan with this. Yeah,
exactly. Feels nice in white with those lifelinkers and some +1/+1 synergies. This set really doesn't look fast, so. And there's the flying archetype, I think seems very powerful. I don't see me being sad about having a couple of these in every green deck.
Oh yeah, I'll play two. It's a lot better than might be better than. I mean, I'm not going to say every 4-drop. The white has a good 4-drop. Blue has a good 4-drop. Red has no good 4-drop, if I remember correctly. And black did not have a good 4-drop. So. This is like the third best common 4-drop or something.
Neo, what do you mean? What is the fleeting distraction? The -2/-2 kind of shit on it? Yeah, that's true. Fleeting distraction, is that the white trick, +1/+1 trick? Maybe?
-1/-0, draw a card.
But oh, like, that's not like -1, -0. That's interesting, yeah.
But is it gonna like? Those are only the cases that's gonna work is when you're like trying to block
a 4/4 or something.
Yeah, like a 4/4 or something, and this is actually otherwise you don't get blown out. Their creature just doesn't die. That's whatever. But yeah, against that you're going to try to block Tellurian Serpents with this or whatever the serpent's called, and Tellurian Terrors, and you're going to get kind of crushed in combat. But again, this can just start boosting itself. So
I like it. Not that many mana sinks, not that many really good card draw spells in late game.
I would put this at a C+ before I'd put it at a C-.
Exactly, same. Pick is in the set, right? A little bit of ramp here and there. Makes attackers better, so makes pick better. Yeah, I like it. Also very weird, like same like the last card, right? So it's just
it's got a lot of abilities for one card in a core set or whatever, in a learning set.
Yeah, it's weird. So many simple cards, and then we got like a good amount of these like kind of cards that are very hard to evaluate for new players. Very hard to evaluate. Elfsworn Giant for 3 and double green. It's not an elf. It's a giant.
Not an elf.
It has reach. It's a 5/3, and whenever a land enters under your control, you get a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Powerful ability, but after you play a 5-drop, how many lands are you really gonna play?
Yeah, you got the, it kind of makes your Growth from the Ashes not as dead or something like that. Your Evolving Wilds get a little better,
but it's also
not like, yeah.
What's the biggest problem with this card except that one, Siggy?
What's up?
What is the biggest problem with this card except that one, that it's a 5-drop with landfall? What is your biggest gripe with it?
My biggest gripe with it, it's got 3 toughness.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of want it to survive at least, and
yeah, it does. It notably will block a lot of the actual flying creatures because there are a lot of them are like 2 power or whatever. But
not if you have the flying buffer or some counters on
this
them.
Is like, it's just the 3 toughness is just too, bleh. Like basically any other combination of 8 I would prefer. Like I'd rather it be a 4/4 or a 3/5 or whatever, and then it would be really good. But as is, it's kind of just meh.
Yeah, and you have Tatyova, right? If you Tatyova boosts its weaker stats, less board effect, but it triggers of itself, right? You just, if you're drawing extra cards, you're gonna be getting more lands.
Yeah, you're gonna get more. It keeps itself going, which this does not do. I know this is a D. It's like filler. If you need a 5-drop, you can play it, but I don't think it's gonna be a card you're looking to like ramp into.
Yeah. D seems fine. Lukas said it seems to me that Wizards of the Coast is starting to make Magic more aggressive. I think it's the opposite. Like we've had some crazy aggressive sets around Phyrexia LB1 period. Like there are a lot of them which 1-drops that are overtuned, 2-drops that are overtuned, and then the slowest decks in the format were 3 1-drops, 8 2-drops, and then it had, I guess, 2 5-drops. That was the control deck or something.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I don't know, it's really, especially this set, like nothing is overtuned in terms of attacking. It feels to me, okay, we're gonna talk about like white collar ranking, just maybe mention it later, because I have something that I was thinking about. Wanna go on the next one? The last green common?
Apothecary Stomper. Green 4/4 vigilance. When it enters, choose 1. Put 2 counters on target creature you control, or you gain 4 life. Interesting. Interesting card. So baseline 6/6 vigilance for 6. That's not bad for a common, anyways. It kind of sucks that you want to gain 4. Like we've had a lot of cards like this, right? That have been quite
6
good.
mana 6/6.
Yeah, 6 mana 6/6 that also gain 4 life. It was from, what was that set? The Kaldheim.
It was Kaldheim, there was the Worm there was somewhere else, maybe M21.
But now you have to choose if you want your creature to be well statted or gain life.
Yep.
But also it does put counters on other creatures, right?
Oh, that's
so
cool.
that's big. That's big. 6 mana card. I think this is the best 6 mana common.
It's kind of the only 6 mana. Common 6 mana.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a C-.
If this was a 6 mana 6/6 that gains 4, I would fucking love this card.
Yeah. It has vigilance instead though, which is also pretty.
Yeah. Without vigilance, just 6/6. The reason why 6 mana cards, 6 mana one bodies are bad is because you put too many in your deck, your opponent kills you before you play them. They're just stuck in your hand. When they gain you life, you're effectively negating a couple of attacks from 2-drops and 3-drops every time you play it. And once you get them out, you're still alive. And now, what every Timmy is kind of looking forward to, it's gonna be a board state where I have 2 or 3 6/6s. You don't. You're gonna lose this game. But if they are freaking, it sucks if they are 4/4s. It kind of sucks if that 6 mana thing is a 4/4, because that's not that overwhelming. Easy to double block or single block.
I like this way more for the flexibility of where the power and toughness goes than the gain 4.
I hope this is good.
Yeah,
but I'm just gonna give it a D+.
A D+, yeah, that's reasonable.
It's
a 6 mana card.
It is a 6 mana card. I think both of these effects, I mean vigilance, both of these effects would be probably too good, because then you would gain life, you would also buff something else, so if they kill it, it's fine, it's more fine. But yeah, 6 mana, 6/6s that gain 4 life have always been really nice. This one I'm not really sure about. It's a little bit hard for me to grade it. It's
yeah, it's got a lot of applications and a lot of fail scenarios and a lot of win scenarios.
Actually, like, I'm also gonna go on a C-. Are you on a C- with it?
Yeah, I'm pretty firm on C-. It's a card I think I'm gonna end up playing in a lot of my green decks, but
it's true. It's
like,
something to do in top end, and it does help you survive.
All right, let's go to the Mild-Mannered Librarian. 1/1 for 1 green. Green 3, this creature becomes a werewolf. Put 2+1/+1 counters on it, and you draw a card. Activate this only once. Wow, this looks great.
That's great.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a what was that card? The Pac-Mate or whatever.
Yes, kind of like a Pac-Mate.
Yeah.
Kind.
So how does this go? They kill it. So if they kill it, you still draw a card.
Because there is no target.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't need to become a werewolf to draw a card. So like so even the blowout scenarios just kind of don't really exist in that regard. Yeah, I like this card a lot. It's just it's the best green card we've seen. It's better than all the commons for sure. I'll give it a B-.
I'm gonna go with a B- as well, but I could see it being like just a straight up B. Snakeskin Veil for 1, instant speed, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains Hexproof until end of turn.
Yeah, on cards like this that are a 1-drop too, the initial cost of it is just kind of like you don't. It's not competing with things on your 1-drop curve really. I guess it is with Llanowar Elves, but when you draw it with Llanowar Elves, it's gonna be great. So
you can just sneak it in. Like you don't have to play it on 1. You just sneak it in somewhere. Llanowar Elves actually makes it easier to sneak in, and then you activate it. Like if they kill it, well, they just kill the 1-drop, so that's kind of fine.
Mm-hmm.
Snakeskin Veil is, it has not ruled every format it's been. It is better when you have like single creatures that you really want to protect, or big creatures that you paid a good amount of mana for. That is a huge part of Snakeskin Veil, because then it's not a good combat trick. It's sometimes gonna be fine, but not that great. Kind of cool in white green, where you can make it also be a first strike with that 3-drop, but nah, not that important. It's never bad. It's never bad.
Yeah. I like it. It's an uncommon. I hate when this effect is common. I hate it.
Yes.
There's too many in the draft that people want, and I'd rather the effect itself be rare, because then it makes it better, right?
Yeah, less people don't play around it as much.
Exactly. Correctly so.
I'm on a C-. It's fine.
Yeah. C- is good. Like this is it's kind of this like in the same category as Giant Growth to me, but a little bit. It's an uncommon, so you have to take it more aggressively.
Okay.
All right, Wildwood Scourge. This is a reprint, right?
Yeah, from M20.
Green X 0/0. When it enters with X +1 counters. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on another non-Hydra creature you control, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. One or more. So like even with the 2/3 white common, you're only getting 1 counter total. You're not able to like scale this thing up.
Oh, but if you with the white card.
Yeah. If you were able to, let's say you went Llanowar Elves on turn 1, turn 2 this, turn 3, or I guess you can't because
you can't. It's non-Hydra.
Yeah. I guess you do get 2 counters if you target this, because you'll get the 1. You still get 2 counters in that scenario, but that's because you're targeting this as one of them. Anyway, I don't really like this card. I don't want it's like whatever. It's you're not trying to synergize this. The fact that it's capped at 1 counter for each effect or whatever is pretty bad, and it's just always below curve because it starts at 1, right? Like you have to pay 1 mana, and then at that point you get 0/0, and every mana you pay after you get 1, and it's just always kind of below
curve,
what you want on card, even though it's flexible. That said, the flexibility of it makes it like you can put it in your deck. It's not a disaster, but it's not a good card. So I give it I'll give it a D. Maybe it's supposed to be a D-.
Kind of cool with the 3-top snare spinner, but then it's so slow that kind of combo.
Yeah, and it's just not that rewarding.
It has some synergies and stuff, but yeah, it's I don't see this performing very well. It's this is just gonna be a trap for most people, and not trample as well is a little bit hurting. Just be below.
Anything else? It's just very generic. We've seen all these abilities with cards with 100 abilities, and this one has none.
None. Yeah. So. D or D plus? Just a D. I think it's better. But most creatures are just better than this.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Nessian Hornbeetle. For 1 and a green, it's a 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control another creature with power 4 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. That's something that is nice.
Yeah, this card was really good the first time.
Really good, yeah. If I remember correctly. Theros, where was it?
Yeah, was it? What was the Ferocious set? The first one. I don't remember where it was. It might have been the Theros block. It might have been in the second or third pack. I don't remember. I really don't remember. Oh, Theros Beyond Death.
Theros Beyond Death.
One. That's with Uro. Yeah. No,
it's amazing.
This card is gonna it's gonna trigger almost every turn if you're working towards it. Not the turn you cast it, but sometimes it does, right? Like
sometimes it does,
you cast it on turn 4 or 5, double spell it.
It's
whatever.
combat, right? That's a huge part.
Yeah, we're gonna call that. So this is just like a good 2-drop. I don't think it's quite as good as that red 2-drop
with
that
prowess?
we talked about. The one with prowess, I think it's a little bit worse than that. Because it is a little bit more vulnerable to removal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm gonna give it I'll give it a B-.
Yeah, I think it's a minimum B- for me. Just a beautiful 2-drop in a set that doesn't have great 2-drops.
Yeah. That's kind of I could bump it maybe because of that, but it's also not the best on turn 2. It is. It's good. B minus for me.
Man, the red that discards and the one that draws a card. Those are gonna be big. Those are gonna be big.
Eager Truffle Snout, green 2 for a 4/2 to trigger your Horn Beetle with Trample. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, create a food token. So the food thing is kind of like, it's good, I guess. It's like it's not quite lifelink, but it's cool. 4/2 Trample. It's just like an at-rate creature, right? Whatever. It's like a, I don't know. Deciding between C- and D+. It's not a great card. It's not a card I'd hopefully get later in the pack. I'm not going to try to take it aggressively.
No food synergies.
There's no food synergies. I'll give it a C- just because the power level of the set's kind of low.
Yeah, C- seems fine. It was nice, whatever. If it makes food, that's cool. That's kind of good if it makes food. Felling Blow for 20 green. Sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature opponent controls. Alright, so this is not gonna be ever a 2-for-1 like we said with like we had it with a shot, right? Same thing, instant speed, no counter.
Much better card than this.
What do I say?
I'd say Clear Shot's a much better card.
Much better. Clear Shot is much better.
Yeah.
It's not bad still.
No. We've had, like, this is just Hunt the Week. This is just a card we had for a million times.
Wait, isn't Hunt the Week 4 mana and it fights?
Yeah. It's the same effect for 1 less mana.
And then this doesn't fight. This doesn't fight.
Oh, Hunt the Week fought. Okay, yeah. No, that's true. Okay.
This is good.
Yeah, it's good. It's not... Again, it's a sorcery. It's vulnerable to removal itself. But it's still good. Like, it's. I think it's better than the Bite Down thing.
Yep.
The counter's pretty valuable in actually winning a fight and actually killing something that's potentially larger than what you have in play. So
I'm on a C+.
C+, yeah. I like C+.
Good green commons, not broken green commons, though.
Blanchwood Armor, an oldie.
Mm-hmm.
This was from Urza's Legacy, I think. Blanchwood Armor, green 2, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each forest you control. I guess I'll give it an F. I'm never putting this card in my deck. Yeah, ours are just too bad. I mean, yeah. I guess if you're mono green, you can play it. People have done that before, but that's just not going to happen. So, F for me.
Mono green sometimes, but you basically every time you go into, let's say, mono green, you're losing so much power level, but by not having at least one more.
There's just no reason to be mono green. You have good ways to facilitate splashes in green.
Yeah.
So it's just not. It's just not. Yeah.
And it is an aura, like super open to 2-for-1. So that's your reward. Garruk's Uprising. It's a 2 and a green enchantment. When this enchantment enters, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample. Whenever a creature you control with power 4 or greater enters, draw a card. Yeah. This
is something to play on. This is something to play off an elf on turn 2.
Oh yeah, it is, but it is, and then you have you have a Gnarled Colony 2-drop that enters with an extra count as a 4/5.
Yeah. So you can load your deck up with a little bit of top end without the punishment of doing so.
Exactly. And here is where I'm like super fine with playing a lot of 6-drops if I have like 2 of these.
Yeah.
This should be an overperformer in this set, I think. Not that much late game, not that much card draw. We've had some grindy sets in the last few sets. We had some really good options for a lot of amazing late game, and not only like 5 drops, 6 drops, but just like card advantage. I actually think this card is going to be amazing in this set. I don't know exactly what to give it, if it's a C plus or a B minus, but I'm going to be.
Yeah, that's round caught between. I thought you were going to go even higher the way you're talking about it, but yeah, I'm going to give it a B minus.
Same.
I'm going to YOLO it. I think if I'm in green, a lot of the times this is going to be one of the reasons.
Same. B minus.
Because I'm not like green looks like.
The thing is, when there were a good amount of times when we saw this card or a similar effect, and you kind of didn't have these creatures with 4 power entering.
Yeah,
like, you didn't have them. But I would isn't it better? You don't want to ramp into this, right? Maybe, but it's so much better if you can just have a 4 power creature before you play this, and then.
Well, not really. Like it's kind of it doesn't matter, right? If if you think about it this way, if the creature's in play, you're still drawing the card. If the creature's not in play, you're drawing. The card. It doesn't matter when you cast.
Just to like affect the board a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Yes, you would ideally want to put a 4/2 in play on turn 3 or whatever, the Truffle Snout or something. But...
What about the next one? That's weird.
I forgot. Oh yeah. Okay. Inspiring Call. I was like, I know that card, but I can't remember what it is. Inspiring Call, green 2, instant. Draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. I don't like this card. There's going to be times this card is solid in your deck if you're really focused on the counter thing. It doesn't seem like that's going to be a thing in this set, though. You have the white, whatchamacallit, the
Felidar or
something. 2/3 lifelink that counters. There's just not that much ways to put counters in. Like this is with the spider is not a combo. That's like you're living in a dream world if you think that's going to happen. I don't know. I don't like this card. I never liked this card even when it was supported. So I'm going to give it an F, but I'll give it a D minus because it'll have spots where I think it's playable, but I hate these effects.
Sure, D minus is fine. Like if you have crazy support with it. I mean, I guess you have that spider that can put things, but you're doing a super slow thing, and then you're doing the super slow thing again.
Yeah, no, it's not. You're gonna have spots where it's a good like. This is the kind of card where when you're actually there, you're like, okay, yes, there's an Inspiring Call in this draft. Maybe it's pack 2 and you're already white green and you have a little bit of soft synergies, but you open, pick 2 or 3, you see this, and it's gonna wheel. So then you start drafting around it a little bit more, but. Yeah, not a good card.
It does give indestructible at instant speed to something. So, like, if you draw...
It does, yes, but that's after you've already established it. And, like, such an expensive cost for that, if that's what you're trying to do.
No. I don't know. This might be better. I mean, if the set is slower, much slower, then this might be better than what we're giving it credit for.
That's true. That's true. If the boards if it's always turn 10 and there's always 2 things in play and it's always like a divination on turn 10 that also wins you a combat, it's going to be a lot better. But
yep.
I don't think it's going to
not broken though.
Necessarily do that.
Reclamation Sage. I think this was the last time we had it. It was some core set. For 2 and a green, it's a 2/1. When this enters, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. I kind of like this in limited.
Yeah, I think this card is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, with a pick.
There's just enough stuff, right? Like the fact that pick exists is a thing. A lot of people are going to play pick. There's Banishing Light at common. There's various random, like I said, there's a random artifact wall. There's just some stuff that it's going to hit.
I think there's small amount of stuff, but small amount is enough for the Sage. I think, especially with the pick. Just like every deck can play a pick, most decks. Mm-hmm. So, what do you like it a lot, Siggy?
No, I'm going to give it a C. It's just a card I'm probably going to main deck if I get it, but I'm not going to prioritize it.
C seems fine. No, this is different.
I'm going easy on these cards. OP. Okay. Yeah, I'm going. I mean, I'm evaluating the cards based on what they are in the set. Sorry, talking to chat. You gotta live in the world that we're living in here.
Yeah, it's like we don't care what they are in last set. Like that would be
Sage would be is different.
Well, Sage would be just crazy in Duskmourn, right?
Oh yeah, the whole set, it would just be killing creatures like crazy. All right, Elvish Regrower, green 2/4/3. When it enters, return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Kind of a weird one, right? Because if you it's a solid creature on curve. It's not terrible. 4/3 for 4. That's kind of what you expect out of a vanilla common 4 drop. But this is also getting you a card from your graveyard. which you're not going to be able to do very often on turn 4. But it's just a good card. It also hit like 4 power is pretty important, as we've seen. There's a lot more cards that really pay attention to that ferocious mechanic. I don't know where to give this. I'm gonna give it a C plus. Maybe it's a B minus. I don't know.
I'm gonna just give it a B.
A B. Wow, that's aggressive.
Because it's a 4-3. Like that's the 4-drops are not much better statted in this set than this one.
Yeah, I just don't know. Yeah, I guess you can get back Evolving Wilds kind of.
It's like any
always,
permanent. 2-drop, 3-drop.
Yeah, it's gonna grave dig anything that traded early. Yeah, maybe it's better. I'll give it a B minus. I'm not gonna go up to a B, but I'll give it a B minus.
So I know we are on uncommons, but what happened to that black 3/2 flyer that cannot block for 5 mana?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
You look at this. Yeah, you look at this and then you see that. And like, what the hell's going on?
Dvinen.
It used to be a rare, right? I think this used to be a rare.
Yeah. Guilt Leaf Dean, I guess. I don't know. For 2 and double green, it's a 3/4 reach. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever this attacks, you gain 1 life for each attacking elf you control. Okay. Not bad.
It's reach. You told me there was only one other reach creature.
Commons. Reach matters in this set. I mean, there are enough elves. And there are enough elves.
No, this is a good 4-drop.
Yep.
I think. It's not like crazy or anything. You're not. Obviously, the more of those elites you get, the better this looks. But I don't think that's really. Maybe. I mean, the other thing is a common, so. Maybe it gets a little bump for that. You're gonna play this you're just gonna play this with very few elves in your deck anyways, though. Just a 3/4 reach for 4 is fine. It's not great, but it's fine.
C plus.
I'll give it a C.
No, C plus.
Right.
I think there's enough support. Enough it supports. Yeah, this is different, Morbid.
Needletooth Pack. Green 3 for a 2 green and 3 for a 4/5 with Morbid. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, put 2 +1/+ counters on target creature you control. Interesting. So its stat line is okay for a 5-drop. That's kind of what you get, right? 5 mana for a 4/5. Triggering Morbid on your own turn specifically. Maybe too difficult, and also, I mean, it's gonna. I don't know. It's good. It's a good 5-drop.
It's a powerful effect.
It's a powerful effect. If you can get a lot of the times when you play it, it's going to go on itself, right? So it'll end up being like a 6/7. You're going to trade off your creature and then play this, and it's going to be quite big.
Yeah.
And the fallback isn't too bad. Yeah, it's a good card. I'm going to give it a C+ because it's a 5-drop.
It's 2 counters. 2 counters is a lot.
It's a lot of counters.
What do you give it?
I gave it a C+. I'm just not going to take it that highly because it doesn't have a true enters the battlefield effect. And
yeah, I'm good with a C+ because it, again, doesn't compete with much.
Exactly.
Basically nothing. So, again, you pick this, you're not replacing a 5-drop. Okay, we got Overrun for 2 and triple green. Sorcery creatures you control get +3/+3, gain trample until end of turn.
This was like one of the best cards ever limited for so many years.
Yeah. Oh, but it's still good. This is night and day between the effects that we got after the Overrun was introduced, which were +2/+2 trample.
Yes.
This night and day. This does usually mean
more.
So, what?
Yeah. It's 50%.
50% more.
Yeah.
Add 50% to any card in Magic and it's broken. But this one, not always broken, but it means when you have a +2/+2, a lot of times it means that you kind of have no way to play it because opponent can just let through a lot of damage and be fine, just attack back. +3/+3 means that it is so much harder for them to do that. It also works very well with the 6-drops that gain you life, like you can stack a bit of those. Works well with going wide in white. Some green cards go a little bit wider. Works well with that touch, even though it's a smaller creature. Yeah, this is gonna make them like have awkward, either die or have awkward blocks where just a lot of times playing this means you are removing something. You don't have to win. It means you're removing something, so you might win in the next 2 turns. So I freaking love Overrun. I don't think the game board, the game states are gonna be as large, as slow as before.
Previous sets, yeah.
Yep. So in modern day Magic, Overrun is not that great. With this set, I do think it is gonna be slower and more clogged on the ground. So I think, I don't know if I can, it's hard for me not to give this a B grade, somewhere around B, but I don't think it is in the B grade. I think
No,
it's more like
I was
a
going
C
to give it a
plus.
C plus myself. Yeah.
C plus?
C plus,
Yeah. What would you give it,
I
like,
mean,
10 years ago?
its ceiling is pretty high, but I think it's actually, its ceiling is pretty high, and a lot of times going to be bad decks, the green decks that are mostly creatures.
What do you think, what would you give this 10 years ago?
10 years ago? I think it was printed 10 years ago in something, and it wasn't very good.
Really?
I think so. I think the last time this was printed, it wasn't good. It was in some like random core set. It was more of a function of what the format was about, though.
In original Dominaria...
And why you hinted at the fact that when it's +2/+2, it's much worse than +3/+3.
Yes.
When this actually threatens lethal, it is a night and day different card, right?
Yep.
And so like the higher you inch towards being able to have a smaller board that can present lethal, the better this card gets. So if a lot of creatures, for instance, have low power in the set, this card's still just going to be bad because their life total is going to be pretty high anyways. So even if you have 3 or 4 creatures in play when you cast it, sure, I take 12. All right, let's go back to playing the game we were playing, right? And you're down a card, which is more of a grindier whatever. This set isn't like that, though. There's a lot of creatures with a lot of pretty high power, right? So when you get in with that 4/2 one time, and then, you know, maybe you hit them with a 2/2 a couple times, they're at 12. It's really easy to make this thing lethal. So I think it's going to be better than maybe it was the last time it was printed. I can't remember the last time it was printed, but I don't remember it being that good. But when this card was originally printed, it was one of, if not the best card in the format, and it was only an uncommon. So
I mean, in Dominaria, it would be a bomb.
in Dominaria, would it have been?
Super slow, and green had a lot of 1/1 spore fungus. It had funguses.
Oh, yeah. I think we had similar effects though.
Yeah, +1/+1 with a kicker to give 2 +1/+1
Didn't we have a
counters.
rare that did something similar?
Oh, there was
Like
an uncommon that gave 4 mana +1/+1 counters to anything, 8 mana I think, 2 +1/+1 counters to everything, and that was really good.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember what you're talking about. But
But
yeah, C plus is good.
C+.
If you're a curve out deck, the one play, like there's going to be decks that you don't even want this in your green deck, so it kind of gets dragged down under that B grade for me. Like the more like rampy, like if you're playing a Grow from the Ashes blue green deck and you're trying to ramp into high end to top end, it's going to be way worse.
See, I think we could be wrong about this one. I think there could be a high chance that set is slow enough for this to be just like win the game a lot of times.
Yeah, you know, it could be, yeah.
It's kind of okay with the next card.
Yeah, it's almost like the infinite damage combo we already found.
Yeah.
Quake Strider Ceratops. Triple green 3 for a 12/8. Literally a double crawworm in one card. Kind of weird to evaluate this card because it's just a big body thing. It doesn't have trample, so can get chumped forever. If you're able to give it trample, now we're talking, right? But yeah, it's just like us, you know, kind of in the same category for me as the last 6-drop. The other 6-drop might even just be better, the common, just because this it's gonna be really good in the green mirrors or whatever. But outside of that, it kind of dies to removal and can't fight through a couple of 1/1s very well. I'll give it a I'll give it a C.
24 years ago, I would be like, this is the best card. This is the best card. The best card ever printed. It's 6 mana. It's kind of pretty hard to cast, but it is 6 mana. There is a good amount of ways to give it trample, which is not normal in the set. There is, of course, the Garruk's Uprising that gives everything trample. Then there is the Gnarled Colony that gives all the creatures with +1/+1 counters trample. So that's a common, and I think you're going to be playing a lot of Gnarled Colonies, just because that's how the 2-drops are in the set. And then you can put a +1/+1 counter on this, maybe with white cards, maybe with your Spider that gives a +1/+1 counter. And that's going to be a nightmare. So I think in Modern Limited, I would be like, this card is nothing. It's nothing at all. But in here, C seems fine. C seems fine. But we got a better 6-drop on the next one. It's Affectionate Indrik from Guilds of Ravnica. 5 and a green. It's a 4/4. When this creature enters, you may have it fight target creature you don't control, which kills basically everything in this set.
Yeah, it's gonna kill a lot of the non-green creatures. Yeah.
So this is amazing. I think I'm picking this as a B-.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was gonna have it, B-. Kind of clunky. The body isn't great, but it's good enough to do the job, right? So.
Yeah. It kills by petting you, right?
It kills, but yeah. I guess that's what it does. Yeah, it's a little bit too. It's a little bit stronger than it thinks it is. Yeah. So like, you gotta keep in mind in these core set type things, these onboard 2-for-1s are a lot more rare than and so like you kind of take what you get.
Take what you get.
6 mana 4/4, but even if it kills their 3-drop, that's still good. You're still up. You're still up 2 cards on board.
Ooh, I'm just thinking a little bit. Remember how I said that maybe it's gonna be fine to play that Reflection in blue uncommon that copies target creature, makes a token copy of it. But there is a blue common that bounces, right? Blue common that bounces, which is gonna annihilate that card.
Well, it's also good with the card, right?
Why?
You're talking about the blue thing that copies something from the graveyard that we're discarding to throw the possibilities or whatever, that thing?
The
flashback?
The flashback, that 4 mana for flashback copies some creature.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Mana War argument works both ways. It's a decent thing. It's like, as far as blue is concerned, it's one of the better things to copy.
It's true.
But yeah, that card is bad. I mean, we've established that card's bad, but it is going to be interesting with the terror deck with throw possibilities and whatnot.
More graveyard hate, but at least it's a rare.
Yeah, this is a rare. I'm okay with that.
Same.
Scavenging Ooze, green 1, 2/2. For a green, exile a card in a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and you gain 1 life. Yeah, this is just a great 2-drop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd quite say it's a bomb. It's almost in that category because the 2-drops are so bad in this set and there's some graveyard stuff that kind of bumps it up a bit. I'm gonna give it a B+, but it might even be better than that.
I don't think it's gonna be really that much better than that. I'm just gonna give it a B. I think it's super solid, but I know last time I played with Ooze in Limited, I always thought it was gonna perform better than it did. Just a little bit. Being a green cost, sometimes you can't do this.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. You don't always have green mana.
A lot of times when you're gonna start doing this, it's like super late game. So, because you really want to like play other things. Yeah. And you need targets. So just a B, but I mean, amazing tutor. Just amazing tutor. Oh, it's a new one, right? Loot Exuberant Explorer. For 2 and a red. Oh, what the hell? For 2 and a green, it's a 1/4. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. For 4 and double green and a tap, look at top 6 cards in your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value less than or equal to the number of lands you control from among them and put it on the battlefield. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in random order. Okay, that's kind of nice. 6 cards. Yeah. So playing 2 lands is basically no text. It's kind of like no text. It's gonna be pretty. It's gonna be okay when you're flooded, right? You play this on 3, play another one, and then play 2 lands. If you're really flooded, and then you're unflooded. You're effective. This unfloods you. That's the good thing. But in most games, it's just gonna be a 3-mana on 4 that has a really nice effect in the late game, right? This is very worth it.
Yeah, really good mana sink.
Instant speed. It survives. This is huge. It's not like a 3-2.
I think this is actually a little bit better because of Llanowar Elf. You're going to play the second land the turn you play this a lot more.
With Llanowar Elves. I can see that. I can see that. Great mana sink. Instant speed, right? Instant speed. It means opponent. Good luck attacking.
Yeah, it is instant speed. Yeah, I double checked that. Yeah.
So they're not gonna attack. I mean, I think they're not gonna attack, and it's a 1/4, which means it blocks a lot. I'm gonna be fine just blocking with this. Like 3. If this was a 3-2, even a 3-3, this just like 1/4 means.
Yeah, this is one of those cards,
survives.
right? Where Ham might say it's better if it was a 3-3 or a 3-2 or something, and I'd much rather have it be a 1/4.
Same.
Sit around, be able to block, and then just kind of take.
Maybe a 3-3 is kind of okay, but 1/4 dodges more removal. I'm on a B+ for this one. I don't think it's quite a bomb, but B+.
Yeah. Deciding between B and B+. I definitely don't think it's a bomb. But yeah, I'll go with B+. I mean, I can't imagine taking just random common removal over it or whatever, so.
Oh!
Mossborn Hydra. Green 2/0/0 trample. This creature enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. Landfall, whenever a land you control enters, double the number of +1/+1 counters on this creature. This one gets value from Llanowar Elves, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So play on turn 2. Blah, blah. I mean, it scales out of control. It is one of those cards that's kind of bad in the late game, the late game, but it's a great 3-drop. If it's able to survive or whatever, it is going to just run away with the game.
It takes a while though, but evolving vials.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it really isn't a card until you play your second land with it in play.
Yep.
At which point it's a 4/4 and it starts getting out of control. But then it gets really out of control. Not going to take this thing super aggressively. I'll give it a C+. I still think it's going to be a good card.
Good card. C+. People always imagine. Everybody who said a grade in my chat was C+, so that's nice. But chat has also grown. Same like Magic players on the arena. It's 5 years ago when I was making a tier list. This would be like A+. That's gonna be a 50-50 and shit like that. This is completely different now. Maybe we just got stupider. Maybe that's it. But
that's a very good call out from your chat from Gigi. That this is nice with Snakeskin Veil. This is a real Snakeskin Veil gets a lot better when you have this in your deck.
Not just with that, it's also like anything that adds +1/+1 counters. There is the
but that one specifically adds the counter and makes it so they just can't win it.
Yeah. There is the spider makes it better. Some white cards make it better.
There's a lot of good cards. Evolving Wilds, obviously.
Even the 6-drop, but that's a bit harder. C+, but this doesn't need a ceiling, I think. It's just like, it's a good card, but sometimes it's going to be really bad draw. Next up, Spinner of Souls for 2 and a green, reach 4/3. It's a rare, come on, don't tell me there are no reach creatures. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Oh, well. That's a 4/3 reach for 3 mana. That's already good.
Yeah, and we get some extra text.
I'm just gonna be on a B+, B plus for this one.
I'll give it a B. The extra text is kind of hard to accomplish. It is nice with the with like random black sacrifice effect. You can just start turning creatures into actual creatures, right? Like
I think it's super easy to trade that they need to block green creatures. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a great card.
I mean, green is looking pretty good all in all. The commons and the uncommons as well.
Sylvan Scavenging. Green 1 enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, choose one. Put a counter on a creature, +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Create a 3/3 green raccoon creature token if you control a creature with power 4 or greater.
What the fuck?
Yeah, this one's weird because the difference between those two effects is pretty massive. But yeah, it's going to self-fulfill itself, right? You have imagine playing this turn 2 after a Llanowar Elf. Crazy. Yeah, this is just it does require stuff to go pretty well. I don't know. I'm torn between A- and B+. It's a really good card.
I'm on an A, just on an A.
I'll give it an A-. That's kind of where I'm at.
If nothing, it's gonna buff your creatures. It's only 3 mana. That's
Yeah. Yes, I'm not arguing if it's a great card. It's more is it in line with cards that kind of just take over the game on their own, and this kind of can, but
I think it pretty much does.
Yeah, you might be right.
It's every turn, basically every turn you're getting a 3/3 for just single investment of 3 mana.
Yeah.
Elvish Archdruid for 1 and double green. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. You can tap it and add green mana for each elf you control. And it's a 2/2. Kinda fine-ish, but kind of a little bit medium. Pretty cool with a spider, so you can like mana sink and buff your creatures a crap ton. Not that bad in this set, not that great in this set. I'm just gonna be on a C+. Because there is if there was no mana sink.
I thought you were gonna like maybe make it lower because like there's a lot of sets they printed this card and it's just like a D- or whatever. You're just never gonna put it in your deck. But I think it's legitimately like I think I'm gonna play it in every green deck.
Yeah, this set is a bit different for that, like the elves.
Yeah. So I was thinking C+ myself. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I like C+. I like C+. I think I'm gonna be pretty happy to have this card in my deck.
If the spider is bad, then this is gonna be worth setting because that's the mana sink you have in green.
The spider won't be bad.
I really don't think it's gonna be bad as
assure
well.
you it won't. Yeah.
Mark didn't. I think
it's gonna be like conflicting. Like you don't want the spider when you're like you're like really focused on the uprising type deck. But yeah.
Next card. I don't even know what it does, but these cards X and Lord of Green are always shit. So I'm guessing it's gonna be unplayable.
Yeah. Well, this one's no different. Genesis Way, green X. You reveal the top X cards of your library. You put any number of permanent cards with mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then put all the cards revealed that way that weren't put in your graveyard into the graveyard. Yeah, unless you're going super heavy on the ramp thing, you just can't put this card in your deck. So it's. I'm gonna give it an F. Whatever. If you really want to nitpick and say D-. If you do have like a million Llanowar Elves, Grow from the Ashes, if you're really hard on that, this card might be okay, but it's an F.
It's an F. Bye.
Yeah.
Doubling Season for 4 and a green enchantment. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many tokens. If an effect would put 1 or more counters on a permanent you control, it puts twice that many counters on that permanent instead. This is always a trap. Basically always a trap. It's like unless it could not be a trap if you had like very good card draw to know that when you play this you're gonna get a lot of effects even if it's the last card you play because it's a 5 mana do nothing. There's enough counters and shit, but this is in 99% of the scenarios it's not gonna be better than playing any 5-drop. Any 5-drop. Because the 5-drop is just a 5-drop. It's like, I don't know, a 5/5 with no text at least. So just an F. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's just an F. The only sort of situation where I think you would ever want to play a card like this is when the creatures are curved out in a way that they're like 0/0s that enter with counters, right? When there's a lot of those, like the Phantoms from a long time ago. Then maybe because you're getting you play this and then everything you play after it is immediotely going to be
a correct ton of creatures.
And then only maybe at that point. What we're doing with this, it's just no. It's just no. I mean,
I think it's got to be that.
I may mess around with it at some point. We do have Grow from the Ashes, Llanowar Elves, and some token making stuff. So maybe I'll meme around with it a little bit.
Sure, that seems fun.
Yeah. This is a constructed or a commander plant because it's like a $60 card or was at some point.
I mean, I'm gonna play it once just to lose with it, and then say, okay, I'm not gonna do this again, and that's it.
Just to make chat happy.
Yeah.
For Twitch chat.
Only Twitch chat, okay. No other chat.
Vivian Reed. Green 3. For Planeswalker with +1, look at the top 4 of your library. You reveal a creature or land. Put it into your hand. -3, destroy an artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. And -8, you get an emblem with creatures you control. Get +2/+2, have vigilance, trample, and indestructible. It's not like it's a bomb, but it's not like crazy out of control bomb. I'll give it an A.
I'm actually gonna just give it a B+. Because
Okay.
it doesn't... what was this? Some core set when it was last printed, where it was pretty nice.
Oh, it was crazy in that. It was really good in that set.
It was crazy.
Yes, it was very good.
But
I played with it a couple times. It was really good.
It was really good. The thing is that it doesn't protect itself at all. And I don't know if the games are...
It doesn't protect itself like in a traditional sense. It can kill flyers or whatever.
It can protect itself. The thing is the +1 doesn't... Oh, wait. I mean, you're always... yeah, I mean, I'm also gonna give it a bomb grading. Because it is a 6 loyalty. You're gonna be getting creatures. You're gonna be...
that was the thing. Loyalty is so high. It's really hard to just not have this survive at least one turn and then be able to like have it protect itself.
And you never have to minus.
Be able to protect it after that. It's really nice with the spider.
Really nice with the doubling season.
Kind of shell up. You're just going to shell up behind the spider and play this, and they're going to have to make some bad attacks to try to.
I'm okay with an A-. I'm okay. It is a bump. It is a bump. Yeah, it is a bump. Quilled Greatward for 4 and double green. It's 7/7 trample. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage during your turn, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. Okay, that's a lot of counters. You may cast this card from your graveyard by removing 6 counters among creatures you control in addition to paying its other costs. Okay, that's a lot of counters.
Yeah, I was gonna say that may as well not be there. That's ambitious.
But I mean,
this is more for that bottom part is more for constructed or whatever. I imagine.
I don't think so. I don't think so, man. Because like, you just need to connect with something.
You connect with something and it has 7 counters on it. Good God, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Why would you remove the counters? Why would you remove those counters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last part is like whatever. But I mean, I think this is a bomb. It's just like...
I'm gonna give it an A-, but yeah, it's good. It's 6 mana, and you do have to have something connect for it to.
I'm okay with an A.
Kind of like,
I'm okay with an A for this one. Yeah, when you have 6 counters, I'm not sure if you ever want to remove them to cast this. So that's the thing.
If you are removing them to cast this, it means you're really winning.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. I don't really know how to evaluate this one. Preposterous Proportions. Green 5. Creatures you control get +10/+10 in-game vigilance. So notably no trample, right?
Yeah.
So ideally you're going to play this with trampling creatures, but it doesn't take many creatures in play to make this thing good. Though it is going to be bad if you don't have trample and they have a couple of tokens in play, because then you're spending 7 mana to kill a couple tokens and not really do anything, right?
But there is enough trample. There is like 3-drop has trample. The Gnarly Colony is going to give trample.
Yeah, that is true. There's 3-drop with trample. There's
Garruk's Uprising.
That's a reach, right?
There is enough trample.
Uprising, yeah, it's going to be nice with Uprising, but you're not going to always have that, right? I'll give it. It's also a do nothing until you do it. I really don't know. I'll give it a. I'm going to give it the same grade I'm going to give Overrun, I guess. I'll give it a C+.
I'm actually also going to go on a C+. It's so weird because this is a 7 mana card that requires you to have some kind of a board. But the thing is, even if you're behind, that means they're attacking a lot, right? Like,
yeah.
Basically, every one of those creatures needs to be blocked. Man, it's still 7 mana. There is so much to pay.
Yeah, that's I can't give it a higher rating, and if anything, I think it'll go lower.
Yeah, I could go lower as well. But
Yeah.
I'm still gonna start as a C+. Like, I think green is gonna be okay in going for a bit of a longer game. Galta, Primal Hunger for 10 and double green. It's a 12-12 with trample. This spell costs X less to cast for X is the total power of creatures you control. I mean, this is great for green.
Yeah, it's a really good card.
It's really good for green. It's sometimes I remember playing it and I just couldn't play it, but so maybe not.
It does happen, but
because of that, I maybe just give it a B plus. Do you think it's a bomb?
No, I don't. I was gonna give it a B minus, but
I'm gonna go with a B plus.
I was B minus B. I don't know, and I was gonna be more conservative with it. I'm gonna give it a B. The power level of this format's just so low compared.
It's so easy to double spell with this as well. When you're kind of preparing for it. But if they have removal, you're kind of messed up. Like, because you're
well, that's what I mean. Like, there's just certain spots where you just have to get your creatures in combat and stuff, and it just kind of rots in your hand. There's just a fail case with it, right? So that's.
There's a certain spot where you don't have to get creatures in combat, but you would like to, but then you don't get them there, and then you play this, they remove it, and you're like, shit, man, I just didn't attack or block for a couple of turns. That's really messing me up. So, still, I think it's a B plus.
All right, that's it, right?
That's it.
All the cards.
We just have special guests. We can, if we want, we can.
Yeah, we can do that. I got 20-30 minutes.
This is jumpstart, right? So this is not it. So you have time for the special guests?
I have about 20 or 30 minutes, so yeah, I think I should, right? There's only like